Hello there everyone, I am Craven Knight and welcome to the Break Night Props YouTube channel where you get to see me make different stuff. Now this video is not a prop. I do like the idea of showing you guys some of the other creative ventures that I tend to do for myself that I can hope to do for other people as well, and that's just making random stuff to kind of make either my displays easier, make my life easier, make my workspace a lot more easier to deal with. So here it is. This video is devoted to these little guys, action figures. Specific action figures, DC Icons, DC Collectible series. Now what I did was make pretty awesome stands out of foam board and wire that I am going to show you. My first one that I attempted was this Superman here. So I ask you to sit back, relax, and enjoy the video as we get up close and personal with the display stands that I made for my DC Icons action figures. Alright, here we go. Now, here is the first of a few stands that I made for my DC Icons action figures. Now, I went with Superman first because, to be honest, Superman is not my favorite. I'm a little bit of a Batman snob. But you can see from all angles it kind of wobbles a little bit going back and forth, which is not bad because it's still pretty stiff as far as the wire goes. I'm going to explain exactly how I put this all together. Now, I use foam board for the base here. You see here I did the Superman emblem. I chose to use some of the thin sheets of EVA foam that you can get at a Michaels. Now the way I made this, why I made it at an angle, is mainly just so, for one, the emblem can kind of point out. So you can actually the first thing you see isn't just the figure, but also the logo. So it's not just flat down facing up, but also it also serves another function as a little storage spot for some accessories. Now, as this being the first one, I realized I could have did some things different because now those extra hands that are in there are going to be a little hard to reach because it kind of stops on the inside there. But I pretty much just used, for this first one, just a bare wire. You can take the figure out right there, and you look, sure, it looks kind of sloppy, to be honest. But I don't really have special tools to do this. All I have is a hot glue gun and some wire. But mainly what the hot glue does for this is to pretty much soften the wire. So the wire itself is not scratching the figure. And then after a while I realized I can just put some hot glue around the entire thing. And then not until way later I realized I don't actually have to put hot glue around the entire wire. It's just mainly this part that holds them. There's little things that, you know, I realize on my own. So I ended up just wrapping the wire around itself, twisting it around itself so it was nice and stiff, so it wasn't gonna wobble way too much as I do the figure or put the figure on here. And it holds the wire itself is not really in the way. It mainly just serves its purpose because I wanted to display the Superman figure how Superman should be displayed, and that's flying in the air. Whenever you see a nice image of the entire Justice League or a bunch of the heroes together, the heroes that fly tend to be up in the air flying. Now here is the second piece that I did. This is the John Stewart Green Lantern. I thought his figure looked very cool, and I kind of went straight away from just getting the Hal Jordan version right away. I really kind of wanted some diversity on my shelf. But here we go. It is very similar to the Superman version, but definitely wanted to have him hanging in the air because any image that you see of a Green Lantern, you always see him posing up in the air, shining that ring, and definitely I did not want to leave the lantern out of the picture. I wasn't going to just shove that into the storage compartment. What I wanted to do is kind of have it hanging as if he's having it hover around him. And same deal with the wire covered with the hot glue holding the figure. The cool thing about the hot glue is that it kind of grips as well, so it's not going to easily just slip right off. And as you see, like I told you before, make this little storage compartment to serve two functions: to show the logo so it's facing a little bit more outward at an angle instead of just straight up, and also to hold the accessories. And the difference between this one and the Superman versions, that I made a little ramp on the inside so I can easily just slide the accessories out if I ever felt like switching out the pieces. And that is the Green Lantern right there. So my next stand that I worked on is one of my favorite figures. Actually the first DC Icons figure that I purchased, and that is Green Arrow. Now, ever since I got the Green Arrow, posing him has kind of been a huge pain. I like posing him in a position as if he's shooting the arrow with the other arrows in his quiver, and trying to pose him correctly, it can be a huge pain to get him to pose properly. So making a base like this for Green Arrow is perfect. So once again, similar to the last two that I did, you have the base with the storage compartment. I'm sure I have some other accessories. That's what I found. It's just 2 extra arms or 2 extra hands with the ramp on the inside, so it's easily to pull them out. And you see same wire covered with the hot glue. And I think it was at this point that I realized I can use the hot glue so I don't scratch the figure. And the wire bends to however you want it to bend. You can do almost anything with it. So I got a lot of ideas because I have this wire. And because it's bent like that and put in that position, I can have it to where he's pretty much almost like standing at a hill, at a steep hill, ready to shoot an arrow. So I'm able to pose him without him falling or dropping his pieces. Has been a huge issue with the other ones. My fourth DC Icon stand that I made for my DC Icons figure of the Flash. And you see, this one's actually really cool because it's way different than the other ones. I really thought about the fact that, well, the Flash comes with this lightning treadmill, if I may call it. And I was thinking, well, I'm not going to leave that out. It comes with certain accessories, especially the accessories that stand out for sure. That you don't want to just leave the accessories in the boxes or just leave them in a dump bin somewhere. You want to display them. And a cool thing about this, like I said, it is form-fitted to this lightning treadmill. But there's a little hole that is shaped to the aligning part of the bottom, because there's a little bit of a base under there. You see, I didn't really care about the paint job under here. This is my personal display piece, so I'm not really too worried about painting every single nook and cranny of this base anyway. So I made it so it's not going to slide around or anything. It's actually form fitted, and it's perfect. The Flash figure, like I said before, these figures can be hard to pose in a way that you want them to pose. You have a Flash figure, you want to pose him looking like he's running, and having these wires here to display them is the perfect thing for a Flash figure, because look at him. He's pretty much hovering on one leg on this treadmill, and you can pose him however which way to make him look like he's running as fast as he can. Alright, here's the last one that I completed, and that is Aquaman. Now, I put a lot of thought into each and every one that I made, at least some thought into some of them, but the Aquaman, I thought it would be cool if I added some of the elements that we know Aquaman for, and mainly that is for being in the water. I made this little piece out of hot glue and wire of a big splash, or wave or splash just right behind him, and looking like he's just coming out of the water. I didn't want to just make his stand just the same as anyone else's. And of course it's angled, so I have the storage compartment for his extra head, his little piece for his head to make it look like he's talking to, the fish, because he can talk to fish. And then his extra hands, which I think I took a couple extra ones from another figure that has green hands. But yeah, posing, hot glue, pretty much this is hot glue heavy. And it's cool about this piece is that it kind of weighs it down, so I can angle him forward without worrying about it falling forward. And simply just the wire just sticking out, almost like little bone structures right there, and just pretty much just hot gluing the hell out of it. And the cool thing about a wave is making a wave like this, or making something like this, is that it doesn't have to be perfect. I knew no matter how I did it, it would come out looking how I wanted to. And then just adding some blue paint, and since it's pretty transparent for the most part, it comes out pretty okay if you put a little bit of blue. I wanted it to be darker leading up to be lighter, and that was very little effort. I'm not really the greatest when it comes to paint. As you can see with this base, is very green, very orange, where his orange looks a little more gold and his green is a lot more muted and dark. But that was the colors I had laying around. This logo here, I chose to just use a foam core because the edges were it became a little difficult to do with some of the other stands, being that, you know, the sharp edges and the curves and all that. Definitely a cool piece to have on my shelf. My main thing was to be able to pose my figures the way they should be posed without them falling all over the place. So there you have it. These are the DC Icon stands that I've made for the DC Icons figures that I have. Now, like I said before, I'm a huge Batman fan. I'm a Batman snob a little bit. Not too much in your face about it, but a little bit of a Batman snob. So, of course, I had to save him for last. So, here's my DC Icons Batman that I have. I had some ideas to do something for him, and I chose to go with a bat signal, a really cool bat signal design that is in the rough stage right now. Here it is. The bat signal, using some aluminum foil tape on the inside so it stays reflective. I got an LED light with the button to go on and off, reflecting off the sides. And I did not intend for this to be my final piece. It's a big piece to just not be the final piece, but it is very rough because I could have went about certain areas different ways. But of course you have to make things twice to make the prototype version first, and then the second version comes out exactly, hopefully, how you want it. Alright, so here they are, my DC Icons display stands that I made completely out of foam board and some wire that I mainly got at Walmart. So I'm really happy with how these came out. The wire stands is something I wish I came up with a long time ago, because posing my stuff would have been so much easier, so much better if I just had that wire years ago. And I'm glad I made stands like this to display them, to show their logos, to put them in poses that they belong in. And can't wait to do more whenever I get my hands on some more DC Icons action figures. So if you like this video, hit the like button. If you like me and you feel like following me on this social media, go ahead and find me at Craven Knight on Twitter and on Instagram. I'm always posting pictures. I like to post pictures of the stuff that I'm making all the time, and I can't record every single thing that I do, but I do enjoy taking pictures of my creative ventures in my workspace. That's it. I do have some other projects I hope to do that I hope to make some more videos on. And I'd like to say that's it. Do subscribe to Break Night Props here on YouTube, and I hope to keep getting some more videos out to you guys more often, more sooner, as much as I can, because this is fun. The stars aligned today for me to do this, so I am doing it for you and for myself. So take it easy, subscribe, like, all that good stuff, and peace, love, and chicken grease. I'll see you next time.